first podcast of a series of podcasts I hope that I'll be starting soon. I promised myself I'll be starting in February. And here I am. It's already the 4th of February and I'm recording. I've got my wife on the couch. She's supposed to help me out with the first one. But, it is what it is. I'll really don't know what I'm going to talk about today. This is just an introduction. It's an open invite too for anybody who wants to join in. Have a chit chat. I'm still trying to figure out the second microphone. I need help with that, to be honest. We're going to be talking about a lot of great things, a lot of things, honestly, from you name it, A to Z. I want to start off by saying this is filmed or shot in Abu Dhabi, UAE, so probably going to talk about that as much as we can. And the people living here. We want to get started with introducing you to the United Arab Emirates, getting to know Abu Dhabi, and not Dubai. A lot of people know Dubai. Not a lot of people know Abu Dhabi. But it's a cool little spot right outside of Dubai, and it's just the capital city. And we want to get to know people that are living here, expats like me, maybe like you. Maybe you live here too. And understand, why are they here? How is living here? What's their story? What's their journey? Do they have something nice to share to us? And get to uncover all these little things. But yeah, as of now, I guess I gotta interview myself. Abu Dhabi is a nice little joint, nice spot. It's very tropical, like it's an island. Very chill. If you compare it to Canada, I guess it's somewhere between living in Ottawa, maybe smaller, but also living somewhere near the coast as well. But it's a small city. It's chill vibes. Where Dubai is more like more like Toronto, but also on a smaller scale, and also a safer scale. That's for sure. One of the safest cities, one of the safest cities in the world, one of the safest countries, actually. The UAE is one of the safest countries. When it comes to cities, I think Abu Dhabi is one of the safest cities to live in. It's nothing like Canada, but in terms of luxury, and it's luxurious. I mean, everything's closer to each other. Everything is close to you, to your home. Ease of information, maybe difficult, but everything is around you. It's flexible. They come to your door if you need anything from the grocery store. They come to you. They fill up your gas while you're in a car. It gives you a sense of entitlement a little bit, and I think people living here will feel that a lot more than Canada, a lot more than the West, where there's a big sense of entitlement. But you get with it. You yourself might change. You might feel, it's funny. You see the transformation where you, at first, when you come here, you're like, oh, these entitled people, all these entitled expats. But soon enough, you become one of them. It's very difficult to stop, I think. It's just everything's so easy. All the beep beep restaurants, you sit down in your car, you beep beep, the guy comes out, you tell him what you need, he goes back in, gets you what you need, you pay and you go. Whatever it is, it could be food, it could be water from the grocery store. All you have to do is stand there, beep beep, put your hands out, and the guy comes to your car. What more do you need? But it does, living here, when you go back, it's very difficult to assimilate back, where you got to do everything on your own. It gets very difficult. So I guess we're going to talk about that, dive into that, and dive into other things. There's a lot of very different values here in the West, we see. Of course, it's a Muslim country, and so diving into that culture. Not a lot of people know the UAE culture, and it is interesting because the minority here are actually people from the UAE. So Emiratis are the minority. You don't see them a lot. All you see is Western or expats from all walks of earth. Majority population, India, you have the Philippines, you have Bangladesh, that side of the world, and Arabs, of course. But you don't see a lot of Emiratis. Their culture is very unique. They come from a background of Bedouins in the desert, and they've incorporated that into their little, I don't want to say little, but huge oasis in the middle of the desert, transformed it in less than 50 years. Great leaders, great vision, and they're a population of, let's Google it, the UAE Emirati population. So total of 9.3 million, but that's also with the expat. So what percent of the UAE? 10% of 9.3 million is Emirati, which is crazy. It's crazy. What's 10% of 10 million? That's what, 1 million, is it? 1 million Emiratis in a world of 10 million people, which gives you a sense of why they're all rich. Well, they're not all rich, but a sense of why the majority of Emiratis are rich, because the country can fulfill their needs, and it takes care of their people. No one's hungry. No one needs anything, right? Education is free. A lot of other things, I'm sure, that I don't want to, I've got to Google this stuff just because I don't want to give you false information, but the population is happy. Unlike Saudi Arabia, they're also happy there, but it's 35.95 million in Saudi Arabia. So you can see the context of the difference between the population in the UAE, and geographically, Saudi Arabia is much bigger as well, and the UAE. Saudi Arabia is another interesting one. We'll probably go into it a lot. Saudi Arabia is booming. So much business there, so much development. The other day in Jeddah, they have neighborhoods of people, neighborhoods of demolished buildings, neighborhoods, all the old stuff. They want to get rid of the old buildings, all the old stuff, and out with the old, in with the new. It's crazy. It's happening fast, and it's such a young country, it's such a young population as well. The workforce are hungry. Women there especially are very hungry because how many years of, I don't want to say oppression, I mean, a lot of you might say that, but to keep it into culturally sensitive, I mean, a lot of women back in 10 years ago, weren't allowed to drive, weren't allowed to do much without having a male sibling or male partner with them, walking them around the city or driving them around, because they weren't allowed to go out by themselves. So imagine that was like 5-10 years ago, and now everything has changed. All these laws have changed, and it's booming. Women have entered the workforce hungry and trying to prove that they're not they're just hungry for, they've been not allowed to do much, and now they're in it to win it. It's funny because you hear guys complaining, saying, how come there's not a lot of, how come now when we try to find jobs, it's all, we want women, and men aren't able to find jobs as easy. But then again, it had to happen. It will stabilize for sure. I mean, they just want an influx of women entering, and then it will stabilize again, I'm sure. But it is interesting to see the country's booming. It's a young workforce. They're all hungry. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's a big nationalization thing. So what nationalization is, it's pretty much they want to hire Saudi people, or Saudization. Here it's called Emiratization. So there's a percentage of the population, a big percentage of the Emirati or the Saudi population that don't work, or want to promote people to work. They want to promote people to find jobs, to look for jobs. So what they do is they have programs called Emiratization or Saudization or nationalization, where companies are therefore required to hire from a percentage of their employees. They have to have a percentage, I think about 2%, or I think now it's 5%. I have to search that up. Actually, let's do that now. Of Emirati population, or the Emirati people, having to have an Emirati in their in the company. So it is. So what percentage of Emiratis in required? 2%. Requirements of the 2% Emiratization law. So 2%, but I know that's going up. I know that's going up as the population increases. But just to give you a context, so 50 skilled workers, minimum 1 Emirati has to be there. So for 51 to 100 skilled workers, minimum of 2 Emirati employees, and so forth. So pretty much 1 Emirati employee for every 50 or less workers, which is crazy. It's diversity and inclusion, I'm telling you, because they are the minority, and this is what happens. And they want their people in their workforce. They don't want their people left out. Because imagine you have 10% only out of 9-point-something million are Emiratis, and they don't want them to be lost in translation, right? They don't want them to just sit around and not do anything, or they're unable to find jobs because of the amount of the majority expats taking everything. Yeah, it's a young population as well, young workforce, and GCC is an interesting place. I can't say much about Qatar or Kuwait. Haven't been there, or Oman, Bahrain. Bahrain is super small and party city. It's like the Las Vegas of the GCC. A lot of people go there to party, but I don't know much about it, to be honest. But yeah, that's a little bit of context to what the UAE is and what the GCC in general. I've been to Saudi a couple of times. I've been to Saudi a couple of times before the big change, honestly. And it was like stepping back in time. It was really stepping back in time into a different zone. You just felt that it was very desert-like and gloomy. But now, honestly, it's like stepping into the future, no doubt. They're turning it into a smart city. They're trying to change everything. They're trying to bring in more tourists. They're trying to build the tallest tower. They're trying to compete with Dubai. And you know what? If they compete with Dubai, good luck with Dubai. Just because I feel like they have a lot more resources. I should not say this in a podcast in the UAE, but definitely this is my home. Honestly, I've been here for a long time. And if you ask me how is living here, I'll tell you to come through. Of course, businesses here or companies, the private sector, if I say, they want people who are ready. You're ready, you're up on your feet, you hit the ground running, because they don't want to train you. You know, a lot of companies here don't have time or the resources to train you, as it's a cutthroat business. Businesses are cutthroat here. Competition is cutthroat. People come here ready, seasoned. And if you're not seasoned, and I'm not saying I was seasoned, no. I wasn't seasoned and really had to pick up my boots and start running. Even though, funny story, going to how I came here in the first place. So Alex and I were, as you know, working, or for those who don't know, Alex and I were in China. And for those who don't know, Alex is my wife. We are having a baby, expecting a baby very soon, with a little bit of context. She will be on one of my podcasts, I'm sure. She's right there listening, and I hope this is not too cringy. But yeah, wow, we're 15 minutes in. Did not realize how fast time passes. And for those who are still on, still listening, thank you. I mean, honestly, yeah, here we go. This is something. But going back to it. So Alex and I are working in China, living and working there. China's a whole other, I can jump into China and just talk for days. Honestly, side note, I thought doing this alone would suck. And here I am, honestly. I'm just talking shit. I didn't know I could talk this much by myself for this long. I'm not tired either. Interesting. Anyways, going back to China. So we used to live and work in China back in 2018. We were both teachers, and I worked for a company called EF, English First, in the beginning. Alex at the time was not there. I was there for about 2 or 3 months by myself, maybe 2. And wow, lots of great memories, lots of great people. Shout out to anyone who's from EF watching this, honestly. Great times. And yeah, soon enough, Alex joined me. We moved into our own little thing. I moved from EF to a company called Giraffe English. Even though EF was probably a little bit more stable, Giraffe English picked up my career a little bit. I was being promoted to, a little bit of a branch manager at one of the other branches they opened up. And I was kind of like the training and recruitment manager, you want to say. It was nice. All right, we're back. I thought the thing stopped recording and had a bit of a panic attack there. But we're back. Can't stop me, technical issues. I'm telling you, I'm a dinosaur when it comes to IT. I need to learn. But yeah, so China, it was an adventure. Every time we stepped out of the house, it was out of your comfort zone quick. And you got to be focused. You got to be very focused, because if you're not focused, anything and everything can happen. Especially I used to drive this little electric bike, and really driving in China is intense. It's intense. Things are happening left, right, and center. It's intense. The amount of people in just one little spot, and everyone's trying to cross the road, and cars are trying to zoom past you, and other bikes are coming through the different directions, and yeah, no, if you're not focused, it would have been trouble. But yeah, I remember one time we were on a bike, Alex and I, and we went grocery shopping. So we had all these bags on us and broomsticks, and we're driving around town trying to get to home, and people were looking at us funny, like, look at these foreigners. What are they doing? Because you're a foreigner there. No matter what, you're a foreigner. You will not be assimilated. You do not look like them. I don't want to say them. You don't look Chinese. You don't because it's the us and them mentality, right? So you don't look Chinese. You're never gonna be Chinese, and especially me with my skin color and bald head and beard and looked very different to let's say their standard of beauty. Because if you get my vibe, their standard of beauty is fair skin, and the fairer you are, the better looking you are. So I don't know what the hell they saw in me, but kids loved me back then, so to their standard of beauty. But I remember one time a child, probably 6 years or 5 years old, was like, Heise Lauscher, I forgot how to say black teacher. And I'm like, you can't say that. So the next day she called me chocolate teacher. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't. It's very different there. They're not used to seeing me and how I look with the beard and the bald head. I've always been bald, even in China. But yeah, going back to it, China was great. We left China due to the coronavirus, the pandemic. We were literally the last 2 planes leaving Wuhan. One was going to Chengdu and one was going to Beijing, and we happened to get on the one that's from Beijing or going to Chengdu. And to this day, I think there was a VVIP who was in that plane, and they had to initiate that plane, or they had to get that plane out of Wuhan, and we happened to be on that plane. We paid that ticket. It was crazy because they didn't want to let us leave, and they were telling us, because Alex was there on a tourist visa, because she needed to renew her visa. It would have been hectic if we decided to stay. And they told us, oh yeah, no, you're going to have to go to the consulate, and the consulate was closed, and it was just a mess. And quarantine literally was at 11:30. We're there at 12 p.m. and quarantine's at 11:30 a.m. This, to give you a little bit of context, was January 23rd. Wuhan closed and was on shutdown for quarantine January 23rd. And when we managed to get to Chengdu, from Chengdu to Hong Kong to Dubai. But before going to Hong Kong, we went to this hotel in Chengdu, and they're like, how the hell did you guys manage to leave Wuhan? They're in quarantine. Who let you on the plane? And they're like, okay, you know what? Just go up to your rooms, and we'll send you a doctor shortly. I go down asking for food. They're like, oh no. And this was 9 p.m. They're like, oh no, everything's closed. Everything is far away. And in China, living in China, nothing is closed and nothing is too far away, right? You pick up a rock, you throw it, it lands on a restaurant. You pick that up, you throw it, it lands another restaurant. So there's no shortage of food. And they're telling me everything is closed because they didn't want me to leave, right? And at that time, I had a little cough. It wasn't COVID or anything. I just had a Wuhan cough because my lungs are weak. And going to Wuhan, Wuhan is a very pollution, or there's pollution in Wuhan, and you pick up a Wuhan cough when you're there. You're just coughing all the time. It's better now, that's for sure. So I had a cough at that time, so I guess they thought I was infected with COVID, and they sent literally CCTV, the police, people in hazmat, and it was crazy. They knock on our door, we opened, they said the flashing lights, and they're recording us. The police this is the Wuhan police, and we're gonna check your temperature, and how did you break Chinese law? You broke Chinese law. And you know what? If the CCP, right, the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, knocks on your door and tells you broke Chinese law, you're shitting your pants. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was shitting my pants. And then Alex had the audacity to look at the guy in the eye and say, why are you recording us? And I'm like, babe, it's the least of your worries right now. At least they're recording our dignity intact because you don't know what's going to happen later on. I remember we're sitting down on that bed, and I called my pops, and I'm like, Dad, the CCP's here now. They're taking us somewhere. I don't know where they're taking us, but because they suspect that I might have something, and that we broke Chinese law. So, and he was like, son, don't worry. But later to figure out that he was also shitting his pants. We all shut our pants that day. And they took us to this isolated behind the hospital kind of thing, and it was cold. It looked like an interrogation room. And that's exactly what they did. They split us up. They interrogated us. How did we do this? How did we leave? And there was an amazing, amazing, amazing doctor who spoke really good English and helped us out, and had the hotel pay for everything. Because imagine all of that, we had to pay for it, even though they called the cops on us. And crazy story. I remember being behind the back of the ambulance and not knowing where the hell we're going. Scary times. I still have videos. I can show you guys videos. Maybe I'll add that to the podcast when I'm editing. I have videos of us, and just me taking video of everything. And I'm like, guys, this is recording for notes for whoever finds my phone after this. Crazy stories, man. And that's China for you. You step out of the house, it's a story, it's a journey. And the route changes every time we leave because there's new construction everywhere. And yeah, we made it out. We made it to Dubai because at the time my parents were in Abu Dhabi, and we were already going there for a visit or for a vacation. So this was around Chinese New Year's, and we had like 2 weeks off. And when we made it out, we didn't know if when we're gonna go back, but we still thought we were gonna go back, and we just didn't know when. So yeah. We get to Abu Dhabi and we're like, yeah, woohoo, another week of vacation. Woohoo, another week for vacation. And this is like 4 weeks in. Woohoo, 5 weeks of vacation. And then, fuck, I need to find a job. So that's exactly what we did. Found a job with Select, where I'm at right now, in corporate training. Also had to step out of my comfort zone with that one. And yeah, going back, I think we went on tangents, but that was going back to the fact that how I got here in Abu Dhabi in the first place. And I wasn't ready for the corporate world at all. And I remember when in the interview stages they were asking me, so we're in China, and this is during the first initial COVID, right? Where in China were you guys coming from? Oh yeah, yeah, Chengdu. Yeah, we came from Chengdu in various areas. So I was in various cities, right? Not to say Wuhan, because I don't know if I said Wuhan they would have closed the freaking interview session and told me to get the heck out of there. But yeah, I used to lie about being in Wuhan. Even on my resume, I used to say Chengdu. Well, it's not a lie. I mean, I did come from Chengdu at that time. Chengdu, Hong Kong, Dubai. I wasn't lying, but yeah, I wasn't ready for the corporate world. It was tough. Learned a lot of things, and had a really, really good manager, Natalie Brown. I mean, definitely learned a lot about training and development, about dealing with clients on another level. It's being in that meeting room and talking to all these senior positions and being able to ask questions and all. I wasn't ready for that. I was doing that on a very small scale back in the day, but nothing on such a large scale. And I was grateful enough to have landed in a company that is patient enough to train. I mean, it is a training industry, so I guess you would think, right? But yes, I was grateful enough to have landed that. But a lot of companies here, no, they don't have the patience or the resources to train you from scratch. It's either you get it or you don't. But I see a great opportunity for nurses, especially nurses back home in Canada, where if they do decide to come here, there is so much opportunity for nurses. Most of the nurses are actually from the Philippines. I was talking to a lot of people from the Philippines. There's a lot of people from the Philippines. In any company you go to, there's people from the Philippines. And they're like community. They're very close-knit. And they even tell you, the Philippine exports nurses. That's what they export. They export nurses to the GCC. And it's true. A lot of the nurses here are from the Philippines. And there's a lot of opportunity too for other communities, other culture, or other nationalities as well. You can get promoted fairly quickly if you bring in Western practices in nursery and all that, or nurses. But yeah, these are some opportunities here. Other opportunities for you. Sales is a big one. Sales. A lot. UAE is a big business, right? It's a land of business, of opportunity, and you find a ton of sales positions here. So if you're a salesperson, come to the UAE, and soon enough go to Saudi Arabia. A lot of opportunities for teachers as well. But here, back in the day, you didn't really need anything. You just walk in, you can be a teacher anywhere. They've changed that because they really care about their education system. And they require certified, licensed teachers. So if you're licensed back in Canada, why not? Check it out. It's not difficult to come through and work and teach here if you are licensed. Even nursery teachers. I mean, Alex is an FS1 nursery teacher, but even nursery teachers need to be licensed. You can't just be a nursery teacher. It's not like before. And I think things are similar in Canada as well now, where you do need a background. You need to have some sort of license to teach and be a nursery teacher as well. So yeah, if you are certified, if you're licensed, if you have that background, UAE is a very nice place to come and work. But yeah, what else? I think that's about 30 minutes in. Wow, I did not realize talking to myself would be this fun. Maybe not for you, but who knows where this picks up? I don't know. I'm not looking at it from a money perspective. I'm looking at it from a networking perspective and pushing myself out of my comfort zone, I guess. I'm trying to find people who have something to share. So, especially coming from Abu Dhabi, I mean, people living here. So, if you're a doctor, right? If you come and talk about best practices with nutrition and keeping your body healthy, or things like high blood pressure, how do you bring it down, and healthy living. If you're a teacher, come talk to us about education. If you are a salesperson, let's chat. If you are whatever it is that you're in, if you're a nutritionist, come talk about nutrition. And if you like to work out and you have workout plans and you've done a body transformation, why not come through? Tell us about who you are and tell us about what you did and how you did it, and what tips you can give to people and all that good stuff. And I invite you all, if you have whatever, and if you don't have anything to say either, I mean, we can chit chat. You can see how 30 minutes in I can talk to myself. Imagine if I have you to talk, it'll be probably another 40 minutes in, right? And it's chill vibes, honestly. It's nothing crazy. I just need to figure out the second microphone. So don't come and text me until I figure out the second microphone situation. I gotta ask people if you're in IT, I think the next person on here should be someone in IT to help me out and help me figure this shit out, because I have no clue. That's my downfall. It's my weakness is IT. Even though I'm a gamer, I love to game, and this is it. This is the podcast. The people of Abu Dhabi, I still don't have a name for it just as of yet, but I'll call it something. I'll think of something, but at least I recorded my first one. It's the most important thing, to be honest. And we'll think of a name for it. This is an open invite. So send me a DM, message me. Let me know if you want to be on this. Let me know if you have anything to say, and let's jump on and chat. All right. Until next time.